Today marks World Press Freedom Day, and unfortunately journalists around the world are still being victimized for doing their jobs, with women hardest hit by this. A report from the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization has shown a sharp increase in online violence against women journalists. It reveals how these attacks are now bound up with disinformation, discrimination and populist politics. But for more on this, I'm joined by Professor Guy Berger, the UNESCO Director for Policies and Strategies in the field of communication and information. Prof, good to have you, and thank you so much for your time this morning. The report is titled "The Chilling Global Trends in Online Violence Against Women Journalists." What are some of the unfortunate findings that we see in this report?
Good morning. Yes, let me just tell you I'm here in Windhoek, Namibia, which is the cradle of this World Press Freedom Day, and it's the 30th anniversary. And so at the time of this year, which is, of course, the global celebration, it's a bit different to the South African one, which is on the 19th of October. But in fact, South Africa can recognize two Press Freedom Days, the national and the global. So here we are at the global, and UNESCO, where I now work, has produced this report called "The Chilling." And indeed, this is a pun, because it's chilling to read this report, and it's about the chilling, in other words, the intimidation of women journalists. So this year we've got a theme at UNESCO for the World Press Freedom Day, which is information as a public good. And by that we mean, information really is a scarce commodity in this world of so much content that's going around, including disinformation. Right. And people should not poison the well of public goods. A public water supply shouldn't be poisoned, but unfortunately we are seeing a lot of poisoning of the information supply by these attacks on women journalists. And just if I contextualize also, if I go back, we do know that, for example, in the history of South Africa, women journalists, Joyce Sikhakhane Rank and Zubaydah Jaffer, these were women journalists who were really brutalized by the security forces. But today it's a different story, because we've got women journalists being attacked online. And again, there are South African examples, Paulie van Wyk, Ferial Haffajee. And the study actually mentions the study that UNESCO has released, "The Chilling." It covers those cases, but it covers obviously a few others. And I would say this is important. The one emblematic case is of the Filipino journalist Maria Ressa, who actually last night was awarded by UNESCO the World Press Freedom Prize. Right. Maria Ressa has been at the receiving end of so much abuse online that she was getting more than 90 abuse comments on her Facebook page a minute. Now, there's no way that she can keep up with a thing like that. And how do you resist that? How do you explain it? How do you unpack it? And she has done an amazing job of trying to get to the root and see how this stuff is orchestrated.
Prof, if I could just come in there, because we are short for time. I understand that some of the comments that she's been receiving and other, female journalists have kind of been some of the more misogynistic online attacks that they've also been receiving. But what I found worrisome with regards to the report is that it seems social media platforms and news organizations weren't necessarily responding effectively in protecting women journalists, and also being regarded as enabler platforms.
Well, exactly. And in fact, Maria Ressa has a good phrase. She says, the trolls have invaded the information space, and the reason they could do so is because the gatekeepers let them in. And so her complaint is that really these big internet companies are not doing enough. There's no way a person can just report abuse when you've got more than 90 death threats, rape threats, and other kinds of abuse a minute. So really the internet companies have to step up more without violating freedom of expression. Right. And so this is something that this report is also trying to balance. How do you stop this illegal and nefarious intimidation of women journalists, which often spills over into real effects in their real lives, and sometimes drives them out the profession? It actually makes cyberspace unpleasant for all people, including, of course, other women who are not journalists. Yeah. And this report it's a call for the internet companies to become more transparent about what they're doing, what they're not doing, and to put more resources into this question.
Yeah, and I know that with UNESCO obviously commemorating World Press Freedom Day, there were various presentations and workshops and discussions that I understand were hosted. What are some of the conversations that are being had in terms of resolving this issue, ensuring that women journalists feel safe, protected in real life, but as well as on the internet?
Yes, there have been lots of discussions, in person here in Windhoek, Namibia, and online, and indeed around the world. And so people are saying, first, women should be able to, of course, trying to protect themselves more, but it's not fair that the victims should protect themselves. It's got to be that, one, the internet companies have got to play their part. Then security forces, the prosecutors, by security forces I mean the police, they've got to start prosecuting some of this stuff. It's illegal to threaten a person with death offline. When you start doing it online, why should you be exempt? So there really needs to be an end to impunity of these kind of orchestrated attacks, which are often combined with other kinds of abuse. If a person is a black woman journalist or a gay woman journalist or some ethnic minority, these are other factors that come in. And so we've also got to enlist the public. And there's a lot of discussion here about how do you raise the understanding of the public through what UNESCO calls media and information literacy.
Right.
So that the public can cherish and understand and help protect and fight back. And also do these crowd investigations. Where's this stuff coming from? Who's orchestrating it? What do they stand to gain by it? Why are they attacking women journalists? Are they just misogynistic, which of course they are,
right.
but are they also just trying to discredit the journalism because they've got something to hide?